Welcome, my beautiful souls and Capricorn. Welcome to your September 2025 reading. This is going to be for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Many of you are intuitively guided now, and I don't know, I just feel so proud that you listen to your intuition. And why do I feel proud? Because we're soul connected. Um, and these readings are meant to be soul connected readings. So you should really feel a reading. Um, anyways, some of you may be in love with the Capricorn. Same thing, just keep your mind open because I am really the messenger for our spiritual team to, and matter of fact, I just did a podcast that really broke down what are spirit guides, who are they? And I'll release that probably later on today. Um, but what I was going to say is I read through our spirit guides, and so they know you're here. That's my point. um, Today or this month we are doing opposite signs again. I haven't done yours yet, but I will do it afterwards. Cancer is your opposite sign. Um, Also, I just want to say real quick, there's something new, well, I think it's new that YouTube started, which, I'm not normally behind a lot of like, some of the things they offer, like gems or this or that. But they now have something called hyping. And this I'm all behind because this really can help grow a creator's channel. So, what I ask is if you enjoyed the video, if it resonated with you, please consider hyping it. Completely up to you, but I truly would appreciate it. It's again a great way of helping any creator. And I think you get 3 hypes a week if I'm pretty sure, and it has to be on a video that is not older than 7 days. So anyway, I hate to ask for things, I really do, but I just feel like this really is a great way to help any creator. So, keep that in mind for anything you watch. Anyone that you resonate with, let's say. All right, so Gemini. Why did I just say Gemini? I wonder if some of you are connected to a Gemini. Interesting. And the reason why I say this, I never feel like anything is an accident once I begin a reading. And once I hit start, to me, the reading has begun. So, I don't know. But this month, what we're going to do is we are going directly to our guides, and I am asking 6 very specific questions. We're going to use quite a few different tarot decks. I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot to answer the question, along with the Crystal Vision and the Gilded Tarot. So we'll take the Crystal Vision above, the Gilded Tarot below. We will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading, and we are going to use the major arcanas. Interesting. Every time I pick Chariot, I have to tell you, well, this is your opposite sign, by the way. That may be a clue. This talks about unlimited potential. It does require balance first. I have a feeling it wants to be seen for a reason. I don't know. But anyway, so we'll use these for our bullet points. But let's go ahead and begin. Oh, I should tell you, I want to tell you what questions I'm going to be asking. So, number one, is there anything blocking you or your growth in any areas right now? And I'm really looking for right now type of answers. Number two, what do our guides want you to know right now and why? Why? Number three, How will my love life look in the month of September moving forward? Whether you're single, new love, old love, current love, whatever it may be, how will it look? And then number 4, which I feel like is such an important question, what lessons from my past are helping me right now? What lessons from my past? And the reason why I included this question is I feel like our history can give us a lot of answers. Like right now in the world, I feel like we're repeating some history. But on an individual level, in your own history, you can determine, like, do I want to repeat this or do I not? So, anyways, whatever the lessons are, what's helping you right now. Number 5, if single or interested in love, what type of person is crossing your path? So, I'm not looking for like color of their hair, color of their eyes. I want to know, are they stable? Are they able to love? Will they give you everything you deserve? That's what I want to know. And if not, then you can make a decision from there. And last but not least, which is another important question, what energy is being called for you to use in the month of September? Still moving forward, though. Time is fluid. So, although I have to put a date on this, time is fluid. Whenever you find this reading or it finds you, to me, that's your divine timing. So let's go ahead and get into the cards. I'm going to pull the lid down a bit and let's go ahead and start with Mother Mary. Mother Mary. For our beautiful Capricorns, what message do you have? Or maybe what do they need to hear? Okay. Dun 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 dun. Inner child. Inner child. I nurture the child within me through playfulness and self care. I nurture the child within me through playfulness and self care. I like that. To me, it makes me feel like you're heading into an energy that is much more playful. And I like that. Honesty. Honesty. I am in touch with my true feelings regarding this situation. So just be honest with yourself. Be completely honest with yourself. And I also feel if you like, I feel like everyone should be honest. Everyone in your life should also be honest with you. But it may start with us being honest first. I don't know. All of a sudden, that just feels like a message. So, your inner child and honesty reminds me of an Elton John song. All right, let's bring in the major arcanas. And again, these really don't have anything to do with the questions. Um, I feel like they bring so much value to a reading. And many times they tell their own little story, but they will relate back to the reading. I just know it. I just know it. It's that feeling I know and I know and I know. All right. Hmm. The sun. Beautiful. This is your illuminator. Here's your playfulness. This is like being a kid again. Um, I feel like this may be illuminating something to you also, like helping you to see clearly. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. And then a tower, and then the hermit. So we're in the year of the hermit. It's all about reflection, and in this reflection, I get a feeling why honesty is here, because the hermit is about spiritual reflection. The hermit to me is a wise old soul. But sometimes I don't remember that until I do. But in the hermit's energy, many times it can be something, especially with the tower right behind it, that like literally brought you down to your knees, so to speak. Well, I just said literally. Um, but you know what I mean. And reflecting upon that, the sun helps you to really figure out what this tower stood for. Did it eliminate something? But is it in your best interest? That's what the hermit's going to figure out. I feel like the hermit goes through the dark night of the soul, and in that darkness, I'm seeking the light. Well, it is mirroring the light. And the hermit often realizes that I am the light. I can save myself. You know what I mean? Like, I can do whatever it is I want to do. It's like the remembrance of ancient wisdom. Interesting. I don't know if I've ever said that with the hermit, but that's what I feel. Like, I'm able to connect with ancient wisdom or ancestors, that type of energy. We're in the year of the hermit. So this reflection, it's meant to be. It is getting us ready for the year of the magician. Actually, it's what's opening up a brand new 9 years. So, do I want my life to look the same as it has? Or do I want to take some bold chances? The sun to me, it's like, again, that playfulness, but also your illuminator. And I often feel the hermit, when he or she emerges from the cave, which this hermit has, you can see this hermit is sharing his beacon of light outwardly, like helping others to maybe understand something that you yourself have been through. This feels good as in, like, I feel like what it's showing you or telling you is we don't have to repeat these towers. Interesting, that's probably why I was talking about your history. The belt that the hermit is wearing is actually a snake. But this beacon of light illuminates that. And I feel like the hermit is great at helping others to see like any snakes in the grass, so to speak. But it's almost like this hermit is controlling that snake. Interesting. Um, card of Leo, card of Virgo. The tower, I feel, is everyone. And you can definitely see that some people are falling from this tower. And to me, that feels like people falling from grace. But then again, I want to say if we really are serious about this year and what it represents, again, the hermit, well, I could see you standing at the top of that tower, kicking people off. Like, you gotta go. You gotta go. That's gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I often feel the hermit is also has the ability, let's say, to be a great teacher, a great mentor, especially because the hermit's been there, right? The hermit now is coming out the other side of it. So, maybe take a moment, reflect upon what you would call towers in your life. Be honest with yourself. Some of you might have taken some hurt, heartache, like in the inner child, which is normally where we take it. The sun is a beautiful energy for that, helping you to release it, but to see it first. You can't release what you don't see or what you don't, what's the word I want to use? Like, if I'm being very honest with myself, then I feel like I know exactly what the tower stands for. But again, I feel like for some of you, it's about you wanting life a certain way where others maybe just are not on the same path anymore. And listen, that's their free will, but it shouldn't stop you, because I feel like with the hermit looking towards the future, let's just assume that you've gained this spiritual wisdom. If nothing else, it will definitely illuminate this inner wisdom, your inner light, and your intuition. So I'm not really worried about the tower. I just feel like it's adios to certain energies. And maybe that's what makes you feel light again, free again. And when I say free, it doesn't mean like free from people, just free to be who you are. So I like this energy. Okay, we're going to pick this up. We'll remember that they're there. And let's go ahead. First of all, let's take a moment and just kind of calm our minds before we get into the questions. I just want to clear my mind. Okay, so is anything blocking you or your growth? And if so, in what area? Hmm, moving on. Moving on. What are you moving on from? Well, Five of Swords. Toxicity. You know, I just get this feeling of bad communication. Could be fighting. Um, you're literally heading towards the sun. This is the Six of Swords, by the way. And it can temporarily be difficult, but it's really for those who are uncomfortable with change. But look what you're heading towards, the sun. And we just saw the sun. So you're moving on from something. Or if you're not, but you feel like you should be, that may be the block. All right, well, let's take crystal vision above it. The hangman. Okay, so now I kind of feel like it may be a block, but the hangman's not the worst thing in the world. The hangman is a pause in the action, a pause within movement. But the hangman really is seeking wisdom, spiritual wisdom, but to use on this earthly plane. Some of you may be receiving signs, and for whatever the reason, maybe you're missing them, or you're not trusting them. You know, if that's the case, then I definitely feel your guides guided you here. Let's see what's below it. Destiny. Why are you denying your destiny? Probably because you're not sure. How do I know it won't turn into the Five of Swords anymore? Chances are you've learned from that Five of Swords. So again, the lessons that we learn, even you can look at it as like karma that we paid off. We never repeat again. But I do get the sense like some are denying their own destiny. Um, but I feel like it has to do with the hangman. And I have a feeling this is more for people who, you know, chances are like you feel what type of change may need to happen to unblock yourself. So the hangman is a free will action. I put myself in this pose, right? I'm holding myself back on purpose, but I am seeking wisdom. Well, I do feel like you're going to find that wisdom, but the more open you can be, the easier it's going to be to really notice these signs. Don't forget, the sun is here to illuminate really everything for you. It's really about, oh, I don't know. I feel like when the sun comes out, there's nothing to fear. It's a good time. Like it's a time where I want to put a pin in it. Memories that, well, I'll have for a lifetime. And some of you, it can be connecting with someone that maybe there was some fear. So, literally, right now, it feels like the block is blocking your destiny. But I feel like that's why you're here. That's why your guide sent you here. So you can unblock yourself. There may be some movement that needs to take place. You definitely need to separate yourself from the Five of Swords. Like, don't get pulled into that. That can be like bad communication. We do have Mercury in retrograde, but I'm not really feeling that. I'm feeling it's more of, I'm getting a sense of something I want to do, but I'm a little fearful of it at the same time. I feel like you got to take a chance. This is talking about your destiny, and your destiny's not back in the Five of Swords. It's what's ahead. All right. So, what do your guides want you to know right now and why? Hello, lovers. And look at this person moving right towards the lovers. Also, two sixes in a row, 66. That may ring a bell for someone. They call it harmony in this deck. Some of you are afraid to fall in love. But look at the type of love. The meaning of the lovers is a head over heart decision. And that could be a little bit what's going on in the Six of Swords. Do I follow my head or my heart? My heart may maybe ask me to move forward, but my mind may be getting in the way. Your guides want you to know there's lovers. This is chemistry. It's undeniable. I mean, it really is. It's undeniable chemistry. So, do you follow your head or do you follow your heart? Well, this is about what your guides want you to know. So, I have a feeling they want you to follow, especially because it's a six. Reach for that sun. Head towards the sun. The Emperor. Dun, 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 dun. The Emperor. Heart of Aries. Um, but listen, I feel like what your team is saying, your spiritual team, it's talking more about the type of person. These lovers, it's interesting because all of a sudden I'm getting a message where these lovers could create what's the word I want to use? Like it was just there, like and like an an empire together, a business, but be very successful at it at the same time if they choose. Doesn't have to be, but they had the capacity. You know, the emperor is someone we look up to. The emperor is a leader of the people, but he does lead with empathy and compassion. Why is that? Because the emperor has been through all the experiences and has learned from them. The emperor is also methodical, so putting plans in place. Maybe for some who want to make a move, I can't help but move you towards the lovers. Um, but maybe you don't know, like, how can I do this? Maybe putting some plans in place, even saving up some money, whatever you need to do. We have the Queen of Swords. Can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But I'll tell you what I feel. This is, and it can be that. But what I'm feeling is, well, I mean, it is connected to Gemini. Interesting. And I said Gemini in the beginning of the reading. So for some of you, could be a Gemini. But I feel like this is really talking about, because it's mirroring the Emperor, someone who is sure of what they want, someone who speaks their mind, but speaks it in a knowing way. I don't feel like the Queen of Swords will. Well, if she was in reverse, that would be different. Now, I'm also getting a message for some of you. This is relating to communication and the way you communicate and the way someone else communicates with you. And that feels like a clue. That feels like a clue. And we haven't even gotten to your love life yet. So let's talk about that right now. How will my life or your love, when I say me, I'm just Capricorn right now. How will my love life look, be like in the month of September moving forward? Dun, 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 dun. Spiritual strength. You're trusting in your guides to lead you. I feel like your spiritual team is like, we're always with you. And I know that's the case. And I feel like they have helped certain ruse not to fall on you, if that makes sense. But this is speaking about your spiritual strength, things you have learned, how you have grown. Hello, Ten of Cups. How will my love life look in September moving forward? Ten of Cups, the lovers, the wheel, and the Two of Wands. beautiful. I say beautiful because I feel like now I see you taking a step upon this path. You might already know who this person is, but this may be you making a decision. And to me, this decision would be a yes. This isn't really a fear-based, and well, it's not a fear-based energy. This is someone who moves according to what I feel passionate about. But maybe it's trusting. But we're looking at your love life. So I feel like even though we have the Ten of Cups, I feel like we're stepping upon the path of the Ten of Cups. I feel like your spiritual wisdom is what helps you ultimately make a move. Again, whether it's a physical move or just within your own mind and heart. I feel like you're making a move. And this too has the potential of becoming the Ten of Cups. But remember, there's free will. But I feel like your spiritual team knows who's in this Ten of Cups with you. And all you need to do is merely step upon the path. And stepping upon the path, maybe you don't even know you're gonna end up in the Ten of Cups. But if you're trusting your spiritual wisdom and you're getting that feeling, I mean, hello, Ten of Cups and the Wheel, just those two together. But look at how they're connected, the Ten of Cups, the Lovers, and the Wheel. The Hangman, the Lovers, and the Two of Wands. That makes sense. The Hangman, should I? If your heart's calling out for it, again, the Lovers, and then taking a step, which would have the Hangman now moving out of this pause, out of this period of time where there's no movement. I have to say that I like this love a lot because I feel there's a lot of understanding, probably like-minded. I feel not only the ability to truly love, but even potentially work together, create together, let's say. If nothing else, we can certainly feed ideas off each other. It definitely feels to me like this is someone who would lift you up, not put you down. Now that might have been what happened in the Five of Swords. People putting you down. And then someone's trying to lift you up. I feel like what your spiritual team is saying is you do have to make that initial move, that initial step, or even the yes. And maybe keep the Ten of Cups in mind. That's the house of love, the house of harmony, laughter, joy. It's like the sun is shining all the time for the people in the Ten of Cups. Doesn't mean it's an issue-free home, but this is where we work it out together. It's almost like saying we're going to commit to each other no matter what. We're going to make it work. And I feel like you have everything here backing up that statement. Because I feel like this is, for some of you, like your true love. Maybe definitely a soulmate. Definitely a soulmate. Because it's sitting upon your will. Some of you just may be afraid of completely giving your heart, which you would have to if you want to live in the Ten of Cups. You'd have to be open to loving fully and truly. But you're getting that back. I feel excited for you. Like, I have goosebumps. Okay, let's keep going. We may come back and clarify, yeah, like a little extra clarifying. It's funny because when I started in the very beginning, I think I started with Scorpio. Or no, I did Virgo because it's Virgo season. Um, what was my point? Oh, I wasn't coming back and clarifying anything. But the last couple readings, for some reason, I felt like going back and doing even more clarifying. Well, the way love is showing up already, and I feel like it's showing up strong. So we may go back and look at that. All right, so what lessons from the past are helping you right now? Transformation. This is the death card, card of Scorpio. You know, it does talk about the closing of a certain door, but it is the promise of a new door. Um, you know, I get a feeling with the hangman here, part of the past lessons was allowing yourself to go after what it is you truly want. But I guess you have to know. I just realized there's my birthday, 9/13. Sorry. um, but I really pay attention to everything. So, transformation. This is a past lesson. Knowing when certain doors just need to be closed. But don't forget, it is always a promise of a new door. It's about a rebirth. Look at this. The Fool. Perfect. So I feel like lesson learned because the Fool is all about taking a leap of faith. The Fool lives in the present moment, which is so important because this is where your signs are sent. You know, like doing this reading right now, the signs coming out are the present moment. Now, even if you watch this 6 months from now, you would still be in the Fool's energy because that would be your divine timing. So the Fool's about taking that leap of faith. I feel like your spiritual team is just like, take that leap, take that leap. You know, you can always change directions if you find, okay, it's not what I thought, but I don't think that's what you're going to find. Fool's looking back at the Ten of Cups. So it's almost like the Fool subconsciously knows that this journey is about reaching that Ten of Cups. I don't know if we could have asked for anything better. We have the King of Swords. King of Swords. Well, Mother Mary talks about honesty, and this is what I feel the King of Swords offers in the upright. This is definitely someone who, you know, I want to use the word demands respect, but let me say, instead of demanding, I earn people's respect. There's definitely someone that wants to lift you up versus putting you down. And it may be different. than your usual, let's say. Maybe you're used to people putting you down, putting your thoughts down, your dreams down, your goals, like, nah, that's not gonna work. But there's someone who's completely the opposite. Completely the opposite. I feel like this is relating to Mother Mary's honesty. Just being honest with yourself. Oh, my screen just went really dark. Okay, so another love question. If single or interested in love, what type of person, which I kind of feel we've already gotten the answer to this, but we're still going to ask, what type of person is crossing your path? Six of Wands. Um, Here they call it material and spiritual prosperity. I like that. To me, that means someone who has a job, who is open to their spirituality, and probably is growing leaps and bounds. In the Six of Wands, this is where other people are really looking up to this person. Because remember, this is the type of person. So, success, but I'm not saying rich. I'm just saying someone who cares about their own life. And I do feel like is reaching a point of success. But I also want to tie this back because, again, I feel this energy of collaboration between these lovers that can bring true success, like maybe beyond your wildest dreams. So, this isn't a loser, so to speak. This is someone who, they're not perfect because no one's perfect. Interesting to looking over their grounds, almost like someone who is proud of what they have built, proud of the home. Okay, let's go above it. Seven of Pentacles, your tree of life, my friends. What was always meant to be. Seven of Pentacles to me, well, it carries a couple messages. Number one is patience. Well, you had that. That's the Hangman. But sometimes we can hang there a little too long. So I feel like in the Seven of Pentacles, some of these seeds are predestined. And I know that to be the case here because we have your destiny. This is what sits upon your wheel. Even the lessons of the past, but they were to teach you, to help you grow, if you accepted them. I feel like it's a different perspective at looking at my past. Instead of saying, like, what the hell was I thinking? I'm saying, what has this taught me? How can I now be a better person because of it? Well, number one, if you're removing yourself from toxic type energy, immediately that's going to open up. Well, I feel like clarity, newness. Is that a word? Newness. I feel like it's what's going to allow you to step on this path. I'm telling you, this is something in here is predestined. Well, all of it is, well, no, I shouldn't say all of it is predestined because some of the seeds, are like, I want you to think of it as like, this is your book of life. right? And your free will, and you put your free will with your spiritual being, and you're writing your book. How do I want my book to look? How do I want it to read? Do I want my book to say, I got hung up, I stayed, and that's that? End of story. Well, that's a quick book. Or do I want my book to say, I've been through hell, I took some chances, some of them didn't pay off. I had to learn how to overcome that. I did. I stepped upon a new path. I found a love that I never expected. Interesting how I just put my hands over Scorpio's card and Gemini's card. I can tell you this. I feel like one of the clues as it relates to whoever this is, I feel like it's their spirituality. They may not make a lot of money, but they are working. They're putting in the effort. But again, you put these two heads together, you can turn all that around. The Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups. Interesting. Just let me say this real quick. And I feel like this may just be for a couple people. There may be someone that you're uncertain about, someone that you think about moving towards, but then you get hung up. Maybe you're fearful of giving your heart completely. Because remember, if we want great love, we have to be able to give great love, or it just won't work. Because I feel in this, the first thing I felt is someone walking away. And I don't feel like you want this person to walk away. And I'm not talking about whoever was in that Five of Swords. You are walking away from that. I just get this sense. Now, that is for few. But this is about emotional clarity. This is, eight is about a new beginning. And, when you see the Seven of Pentacles, just assume that some pentacles are coming to fruition. Something is allowing you, well, you're allowing yourself to be the fool, to take a chance, to take a leap. But then I also feel maybe it's your spiritual team because I feel this supportive energy behind you. So do I allow this new beginning? This is really finding emotional clarity and then putting the emotional, what didn't go right, what cups have fallen over, putting that behind you so that you can start, again, think about in 2026, we're opening up a brand new 9-year cycle. We have to really take this seriously. How do I want my life to look? And if I'm not satisfied right now, is there something that's showing that maybe I'm not taking seriously? Or, again, I hate to use the word fear because I don't feel that you carry a lot of fear. But I do want to say, for those who maybe know who I'm talking about, this wheel and the Eight of Cups are mirroring each other. And I just get this sense where, maybe someone, um, outside of the Five of Swords, definitely outside of the Five of Swords, has expressed something to you. And maybe you have it's so funny. Sam and I literally just had a conversation, and I don't even know what brought it up, but we were talking about when we first dated as teenagers and how he said, I love you to me. And I didn't say it back because I didn't know how. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't know how to say it back. But my God, did I want to. Now, we are back together. And I tell him I love him all the time now. But, okay. Last but not least, and then I think I am going to come back and clarify a few things. What energy is called for you to use in the month of September moving forward? Okay, wow. Free yourself and the rest will follow. This is a self-created prison. There's no way your guides are asking you to create this. I have a feeling if anything, they're asking you to uncreate it. This is a fear-based energy, and it is free will. Just feel like I had to slide everything over a little bit. Um, but it is free will. I forgot what I was holding. Trapped in fear. Break yourself free. Capricorn, break yourself free. You know, when this prison is built, it's usually built because, for whatever reason, I'm not trusting my own intuition. You know, I can understand, like, wanting to build a wall around yourself, protect yourself, but it really doesn't offer protection. That's an illusion. This is about allowing yourself to be free, free to love, free to be, free to create, free from those who put you down, and free to love those who bring you up. So free yourself. Page of Pentacles. Well, to me, again, a great way of looking at my past. Page of Pentacles is all about a learning experience. You know, ascended masters have lived life before, but they have cleared all their karma. They have learned everything they needed to learn on this earthly plane. And they do not reincarnate again, but they become teachers in the afterlife. Why am I saying all this? I don't know. Other than, when we think of that, like when we have the perspective that we are spiritual beings on this human earth, right? On this earthly plane as souls to grow and evolve. These Eights of Swords, hangman type energy, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but I notice it immediately. Like, wait a minute, am I putting up walls? Am I blocking my own opportunity? Remember, I felt like some are blocking their own destiny? I still feel like your spiritual team is like, we'll be patient, but our job is to help you. So we're trying to help you by giving you these feelings, by giving you these signs. But it is you who has to pay attention to them. It is you who has to either accept them or deny them. But again, the Page of Pentacles, like a path of knowledge. Everything I have learned, especially sitting right next to the Seven of Pentacles, your tree of life. You know, some of you may be old souls, but you've just forgotten that. And that's another thing ascended masters help us do. Recognize ourselves, our spiritual selves. And what was our soul's purpose to come into this lifetime? What did my soul want to learn? You know, I feel the strongest of souls want the strongest of lessons. Maybe I don't want to reincarnate, so I want to learn everything in this lifetime. There's the opportunity. Ah, Ace of Pentacles, beautiful. Now, why is it beautiful? Number one, the Ace of Pentacles speaks about something that's coming into your physical world. This is something that's tangible, touchable, kissable. It is mirroring your will, your destiny. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when I come for you, bad boy, bad boy? That seed that I felt in the Seven of Pentacles coming to fruition, there it is. Interesting, the two eights. The Eight of Cups is really about emotional clarity and putting it in the past. You know, this person is heading towards the Nine of Cups, inner harmony. So if this is someone else that maybe had been waiting, let's say, and I hate to use that word, I just get the sense that, like, my days of waiting are over. And that means they're heading, you know, it may mean that they need that inner harmony. But also for you, this is your inner harmony. You know, the reflection upon the past, but looking at it again with the perspective of what have I learned? And then we keep in mind the different levels there are of love. Free will, lower vibrational. But listen, don't be mad at yourself if you found yourself with, and who didn't, like, find themselves with someone like I don't even remember why I was even attracted to this. Well, you know, if you don't remember, I would say just let that be. Inner harmony. And by the way, when you find that inner harmony with the Eight of Cups, that takes you to the Nine of Cups. You add that Ace of Pentacles coming into your physical world. I feel like that is your Ten of Cups. But where does it all begin? With the Fool and the Two of Wands. Taking that leap of faith. First, I should say, the Fool puts the past in the past, has extracted the wisdom. And this is what lets the Fool be so light and willing to take these leaps of faith. Because the past isn't going to tell me what my future is going to look like. I'm going to start creating it right now, right here. All right. I think there are a couple things. Well, first, we're going to look at let's look at the bottom of the decks. This will probably tell us a lot. We have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles speaks about one's foundation. Is it strong? Interesting because you have the Ace of Pentacles mirroring it. Some of you, it's a new home. Now, I don't know if it's a brand new home. That's not really what I meant. It may be, you may be going somewhere. It is a four. And four to me is a very solid number. Recognition and reward. That's exactly what I was feeling. I was feeling that there, whether maybe you haven't met this person yet, or if you have, I feel like one of the biggest clues is the recognition of you and who you are. This is all about your individuality. And you can see, like, it's like you're receiving a medal, right? The spotlight's on you. This person's in a very humbled state, which I find beautiful. The reward, what will it be? I feel like I want to take a peek behind it. Seven of Cups. Making that decision. And it is an emotional decision. So it feels like, especially when we saw the sun, like this may be the time when the spotlight is really on you. And it can talk about being humble for what is about to present itself, so to speak. How many times did I say so to speak today? Oh. Crystal vision, Knight of Swords, communication, honest communication, pure. This night is above the dark clouds. Look at that, Six of Wands connected to it. Where do we see the Six of Wands? Six of Wands right next to the Death card. Card of Scorpio. Honest communication. Maybe that's something you've been learning. All right. Virgo in me hates it when my cards are like messed up. Um, hmm. Deck. Let's use a different deck. You know what? Let's use this deck. I haven't used it in forever. To do a little bit of clarifying. Okay. Put Mother Mary away for right now. We will come back at the end and use the clarifying love situations and the romance angels. But I'm going to use, oh my gosh, I cannot remember the name of the deck. That's how long it's been. It's at the tip of my tongue. I don't know. We'll see if it comes to me, but let's give it a couple shuffles real quick. So I want to look at I definitely want to look deeper at the love here. Just want to make sure they're in upright, and they are. Oh, look at that. Look at that. What the heck? What the heck? Queen of Pentacles. Crystal vision has been stuck in this deck. I don't know for how long. I don't know how that could be. Because I've seen her. I've seen her in other readings, but I have not been to the back of my box. Wow. Okay. I'm going to accept it. So the Queen of Pentacles to me can be Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Could be you. I call this queen my psychic detective. This is someone who's really good at, finding that detail, the details that other people tend to miss. I feel like you can't pull the wool over the Queen of Pentacles' eyes. You can try. I don't even know where to put her. I think I'm going to put her right on top of the crystal vision so I don't forget her. That it just kind of blows my mind, to be honest. All right. So let's look at, okay, we're going to let's look at the first line. The Hangman, moving on, your destiny. Queen of Wands, Queen of Action, Queen of Passion. Now, this can represent Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but I feel like this is about movement. This is a queen who does move according to her passion and thinks about it later. Like, I'll tell you how I feel. This is someone, if something is presented to her that feels right, she's going to move into it. Part of me feels like it's asking for you to accept this energy because I feel like all of us carry all of the queens and the kings. It's just we use them at different times. Okay, so that's over the Hangman. And that makes me feel like movement, like this queen would move or move on. If I'm passionate about it. All right, well, I'm not going to want to stop there. So, anything else want to come out with the Queen? The Nine of Pentacles. Hmm. How about success? This can be starting your own business and being very good at it. This is taking the wisdom you already have and then whatever you need to learn along the way. For some of you, it's about seeing the fruits of your labor. But I have a feeling it's more about building this Nine of Pentacles. I'm not saying you don't have a job, but maybe some of you, again, the Emperor here, I often feel, is the owner of his own business. So the Nine of Pentacles really is about success, independent success is what I should have said. That means you're the one who reaps the benefit of your hard work. With the little flowers in the flower box. It's almost like it's saying it's not all about money. But money is big, it's an important component. I feel like if this is something you've been wanting to do, this may be the perfect time. I feel like the Queen of Wands came out to say, don't be afraid to follow your passions, even if it does take some work. But if you're willing to focus on it, this tells you You will be successful and independent. Well, and if you own a business, let's say, this may talk about starting to see the fruits of your labor. Queen of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles together. Wow. Queen of Wands taking those epiphanies and those ideas and creating something almost magical, but definitely pays off. That's the thing. It definitely pays off. You take that Nine of Pentacles, add the Ace of Pentacles, that brings us to the Ten of Pentacles. We already have the Ten of Cups. But hey, why not have it, love and money? Love and money. Okay, so I'm going to pick that up. But I want to come down and I want to look at the wheel, your destiny, because it is mirroring that Ace of Pentacles. To me, that means like this may be the timing. Even though there's fear, again, self created, free will. I have a feeling the fear came because of the Five of Swords, but I can learn from that. And maybe that's the best way of looking at it. Like, instead of being like this in this self-created prison, I'm going to learn the lessons that put me there to put me there. And then I'm going to free myself, free my thoughts. This person seems lost within their thoughts. And I have a feeling it has something to do with the lovers. Like needing, well, I say needing, but because I do feel for some, the Eight of Cups is someone who may walk away. You may need to make a decision if you don't want this person to walk away. And again, I want to signify it's not Five of Swords energy. It's after that. It's you moving from that energy. Okay. I don't know what just made me stop, but all right. Oh, oh, okay. Six of Wands, victory, sitting on your wheel. But let's remember the Six of Wands is also about not just material growth, spiritual growth. And then with that comes the Four of Swords. Four of Swords is about healing. That's kind of beautiful. Healing of the mind, healing of the heart. I feel like the one extra sword is the sword of us, the knowing of oneself. Where am I holding myself back and why? Don't be afraid to ask yourself these questions. It's the only way you're going to figure it out. Again, even past hardship. What has it taught me? I think like just situations in my life that if I never ended this, then this never would have happened. If I didn't end that, then then the next thing never would have happened, which ultimately led me to really the love of my life and doing a career that brings me so much joy. There was a lot that needed healed. I get this sense of, not that I don't feel like you trust yourself, because I feel you do. I feel you're a very strong sign, but sometimes that strength like I almost feel, how do I say this? Not like it's my way or the highway, because I feel like most people be like, well, then I'm going to choose the highway. It's more of, how do I say this? It's more of a believing in oneself. And therefore, other people will believe in you. You know, especially as it relates to business. If you don't believe in yourself, like let's say tarot, if I don't believe in what I'm doing is actually helping within what's a sense. And boy, it has taught me a lot. But this is coming over your wheel. And I feel like what your wheel is saying, it's time to let the past be the past. Heal what you can heal. And maybe some things just don't need that time. I feel like your spiritual team is saying you might have been in that hangman pose a little longer than needed, but it is your free will choice. But when you let the past go, you do heal. So, healing and victory and success. Okay, something is telling me to take one more. So I'm gonna. Well, we got more than one more. We have the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. So interesting. So let's start with the Eight of Wands. This is much like the law of attraction. What I think about, I bring about. I often feel in the Eight of Wands that four of these wands are going out into the universe. Those are your intentions. And four wands are coming back. They're just matching whatever energy you put out. First thing was the Ace of Swords, though. Truth, honesty, honest communication. Like, what's the sense of lying? Just be honest with yourself and with others. And then, unfortunately, the Nine of Swords is also here. This is also, well, I want to say free will, but the meaning of this card is unnecessary worry. Something that you are afraid to move forward in, though I feel like every part of you wants to. Interesting. Keep this in mind also, though. With the Eight of Wands, what I think about, I bring about. If I'm in this Nine of Swords energy, which really speaks about a lot of worry. But again, the meaning of the card is unnecessary worry. Will I manifest swords back? Yes. We have to think about where is our own energy? Because that's what we're manifesting. Like attracts like. Not to keep talking about myself, but because I have done so much reflection, I know that some of the very bad relationships I was in, I myself was in a lower vibrational energy. As my energy shifted, so did everything else in my life. Believe you can have it all. Just understand it may be different than exactly how you expect it. But if divine is involved, it'll only be better. Honest communication. It's also my yes card, by the way. Just saying. All right. I gotta look at the lovers. I got it. I just got it. The hermit. You know what's interesting is this is a card of Virgo. The lovers is a card of Gemini. And both of them are rolled by Mercury. You do have a lot of swords. So Mercury retrograde may be playing with your mind a little. But know that, like when Mercury goes into retrograde, because I am a Virgo sun, Gemini moon, so I have so much Mercury in my chart that I plan for the retrogrades. Like just this morning, my computer didn't want to start. And I knew. I just knew. Now, I don't think Mercury has gone into retrograde yet, but there's still a shadow period. But, anyways, I'm looking at the lovers. And this could certainly talk about two people, both of you, who've gone through difficult situations, but really have learned to save themselves. And, that's a sense of strength. I just noticed this. We have the star coming right down. It's like the wisdom coming right down. That's your light. There may be certain dreams that you want to manifest. Just have to trust in them. I feel like it's definitely telling us that whoever else is in the lovers with you, I would say they would be on a spiritual path. Or, when I say spiritual path, I don't mean someone is like always talking about spirituality, but it's an important part of their life. Like, I like that for you. And I'm not even putting a sign to it. But what it feels like is a dream coming true. All right, let's see if anything else wants to come out with it. Even the emperor, the leader of the people, someone that other people look up to. This emperor has also been through the hermit's energy. Male or female, by the way. We have the Three of Swords, and then we have the Death card again. So double Scorpio on the board. I wanted to say double Virgo, but we don't have actually double Virgo on the board, though we saw double Virgo, or we saw Virgo twice, is what I'm saying. So the Three Swords, but listen, the Hermit's reflection over that Three of Swords. And then closing that chapter. Close that chapter. Three of Swords, I feel like already happened. Well, I know it's already happened. I feel like what it's saying is I got to close one chapter for this next chapter to open to be all that it can be. To be all that it can be. And when I say all it can be, with the emperor, the strength of the emperor, the leader of the people, empathetic, compassionate. And then the Ten of Cups, the house of love, the house of harmony. And it actually says harmony. Okay. What else do I want to look at? Um, let's look at your line of love. See if anything else wants to come out over that. And I will say that I do feel like this is a predestined love, but I will also say that does not guarantee you, right? Because if you never make the move, then how can that come about? Seven of Swords. Trust issues. Trust issues. Queen of Pentacles again. And then the Seven of Cups. Three sevens all connected. 777. That's a spiritual message. I should look it up on my phone. But remember that when you see combinations of numbers and you see them more, like more than once, stop. I would look it up because I feel like it's an angel message for you right now. You are having a hard time making a decision as it relates to an emotional situation. You can even see the lovers in the background. I have a feeling you're having a hard time trusting because of the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is usually untrustworthy energy. This is someone who takes more than they need, takes more than their fair share. This can definitely be someone who tells a lot of lies. I definitely feel this is your past. And I feel like that's what's making, look how dark my screen went. I feel like that's what's making it hard to make a decision today. More and more reasons to trust within your spiritual team. Come on, screen. Thank you. Okay. Last but not least, I'm saying last but not least, I want to look at the Ten of Cups moving into the Fool. Interesting. I did not plan on doing all this, but something is telling me to do it. Interesting, my birthday is right in the middle of your spread. The Fool or the Ten of Swords. It feels like I'm going to have one or the other. Ten of Swords, definitely a repeat pattern. What have you been repeating in your life that keeps producing the same type of results? And what do you do? What do you need to do to change that? You need to jump into the Fool's energy. Realize that there's been a repeat pattern somewhere. You know, the Ten of Swords, I often feel like I expect a dagger to happen, and I'll be damned. A dagger happens. Again, the law of attraction. The Fool, it's telling you put it in the past. Put it in the past. Literally, you have the Fool looking at the Ten of Cups. This You have to understand where these swords are coming from. I mean, do you have to? Well, in a way, it's learning about you because I feel like in this energy, I've become submissive to it. Like, I'm so used to these swords that, of course, another sword's going to come. But that is not the case. It doesn't have to be the case. When you make, and it doesn't even feel like, maybe the biggest change is moving away from the Five of Swords. But if you think about what's mirroring it, the Eight of Swords, I feel like you need to trust your spiritual team here. When you can't trust yourself, ask your guides. You know, ask them to send you clear signs. And if you're not sure if something was a sign, ask them to send it again and again, as many times as you need it, but don't overthink it at the same time. With all these swords here, it'd be very easy to overthink that initial instinct. That initial instinct. I feel like I'm either going to follow my passions or I'm going to be stuck. And I hate to say that. I really do. I hate to say that. But I don't see any other way around it. Okay. Last but not least, I want to look at the Ace of Pentacles. Because that's about something coming into your physical world and it is mirroring your destiny. Now, it doesn't guarantee it, but it will show. It opens. It will reveal itself, or it already has revealed itself. Maybe you're not trusting it, I don't know. I feel like I'm going back around and around with that. Eight of Pentacles just flipped around in the deck. How interesting, because it's an eight right above it and an eight right beside it. Eight speak of new beginnings. We're looking at the Ace of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles, it talks about what you're building. And it answers a question also. How do I know that if I accept this ace, that it will, or I will, or we will be successful? You got to put your focus on it. Whatever you focus upon is what you will grow. That's why I keep saying about these swords. Like if I keep focusing on everything that's gone wrong, will not something else go wrong? But what if I think about the life? I don't know. I just feel like this is one of those readings where, like, I don't want to push you, but I'm getting this sense that your guides want me to, not push you, but to make it very clear that there's so much free will on the table, but there's so many blessings and your destiny. Not only who is part of your destiny, but the success that you're meant to have. So this really answers everything. Whatever you focus on is what you're going to grow. And by the way, you don't have to focus on just one thing. You can focus on your money and focus on love and grow them both. You know, the Eight of Pentacles also talks about the willingness to go into something as the apprentice, so to speak, but knowing that one day you will be the master teacher. Well, we already saw the Nine of Pentacles, so we know that. And even that Ace of Pentacles, right? It's coming in. Well, maybe your focus is starting to change. Maybe you broke yourself free from that self-limited prison. Man. All right. I just feel like saying, tarot guides, are there any other messages that want to come out? Well, that didn't take long. And I'm not looking at anything. We have the Six of Swords, which is what we started with right there. Moving on. Hello, soulmates. Hello, soulmates. And then the Five of Swords. Interesting. Some of you are afraid to love. But I feel like the type of love that feels like it's presenting itself, I just feel like it will bring you so much inner harmony. Again, I already know that this is speaking of someone who, which I feel is a clue, they lift you up in life. They don't put you down. That Five of Swords, five is always about change. Six of Swords is answering that question or saying that you're willing to make that change. Look at the Six of Swords that moves directly into the Lovers. Now we have the Six of Swords that moves directly into the soulmates. Well, that would make sense because your will, destiny, would connect soulmates. Not free will. That's you. This is about what's part of your destiny. But you do have the right to say yes or no. Man, oh man. Okay. You know, the Lovers. That now we have the Two of Cups, the Ten of Cups. I mean, the Ace of Pentacles, your wheel. Seven of Pentacles, what's meant to be. Your victory within material and spiritual prosperity. This means growth, major growth. And this moving on, I feel like, is going to help you more than you even know. And it doesn't have to be a physical move. It's definitely a mental move. All right, let's bring out the clarifying love situations so your reading is not 2 hours long. But you know, I got to give a reading the time that it wants. I put no restrictions upon the time. My computer does. Gives me 3 hours. All right. Well, that didn't take long. Prickly defenses. Barriers caused by past hurts. Oh my God. Block you. Barriers. Eight of Swords. Caused by past hurts. Block you. Be patient. Wow. Lightning strikes. Dismantle dismantle outdated ways of being. Get a fresh start. Dismantle. Remember I said with that tower that we saw in the very beginning? That's what you're doing. Dismantling it. Outdated. It's time for a fresh start. It's time for the fool's energy. And literally, this is the end of this 9-year cycle. Okay, let's bring in the romance angels. See if I can grab them. And then we'll let it be. You know, this reading is a mixture of hardship, mental confusion, maybe. But in a way, I don't think you're confused. But then the beauty that opens up, it all sits upon your will. You know, I feel like sometimes we need to kiss a lot of frogs to find our ultimate prince or princess. But kissing those frogs is what taught us what we want, what we don't want. So that when true love enters into your life, and I mean ultimate, then you now know, right? You know yourself. You know what is needed. You know what to look for. You know to trust your intuition. This wheel, it's a spinning and it's calling for the fool's energy. That's why your very first card was moving on, but moving you directly to the lovers. Oh my God. Calling in your soulmate. Well, we just saw the soulmates. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. So your spiritual team is doing their part. No doubt. Calling in your soulmate. And I get it. It's like, of course, you don't want to repeat, you know, untrustworthy energy, but also look within your own energy. If you're calling in a soulmate, are you ready? Can you love unencumbered? This could be the one. This could be the one. Wow. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Interesting. That is why I felt for some that there could be someone who is walking out the door. Now, I'm saying walking out the door, but they may just be saying enough. And if you don't want that to happen, then I feel like that's where honesty comes in. Calling in your soulmate, and this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. Not only are you calling in a soulmate, but that soulmate actually has arrived. I don't know where it went, but it's somewhere in there. Okay. I'm going to let that be. Because now I feel like I'm just trying to talk you into something, and that is not what I want to do. This has to be what you want. Um, but I know what your spiritual team wants. They want you happy. That's what they want. They want you to live a life of fulfillment. And sometimes you have to take some chances and some risk. But it feels like they pay off handsomely, beautifully, and probably for the rest of your life. Again, I feel that energy of not just loving, but there must be energy, because I feel for some, an energy of even collaborating together. That Nine of Pentacles, it could be two of you building your own business. There's nothing off the table. Because again, you are the author of your book. Don't be afraid to love. I get it. We've all had our hearts broken. But what if this hanging on to what was is blocking what can be? And this is not just about love, by the way. It's telling you, like, you have the ability to build a business for yourself. But let's say you have no interest in building a business for yourself. Well, then it tells you, we saw the Nine of Pentacles twice, and even the Ace of Pentacles. That can be ideas, epiphanies, but then seeing the fruits of your labor. So no matter what you're doing, let's say financially, this is talking about seeing the fruits of your labor. And I feel like one more thing I want to say with the Page of Pentacles, it's all about the perspective of what I've been through and what I have learned. It's not about creating these prisons, because your intuition is your guide. And remember that your intuition is your guide. It is your GPS for this lifetime. You're either going to trust it or you're not. And listen, I feel like half my life I didn't, but this part of my life, I'm all about it because I learned it. I learned that it is so worth it. Okay, but anyways, I don't want to talk about me again. Um, just look at this Ace of Pentacles mirroring your wheel. The lovers, the soulmates, the Ten of Cups. Okay, stop talking, Sandy. I love you guys. You know why I do this? Because I do love you guys so much. Because I would love to see you all in the Ten of Cups. And I pray that you find your Ten of Cups. I do. And so it is. And so it is. I love you. And thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.